Welcome to the first installment of Chicken Soup for the Fitpro Soul. It's basically just like opening our diaries and reading stories to each other about the job that we love. I'm sharing real stories of real fitness instructors that inspire, empower, entertain, and educate about what we do and why it's so amazing. This first week, I asked my followers to send in any stories, so no category is off limits. I'm going to be sharing 10 of my favorites with you today. I'm gonna start funny and lighthearted, and then I'm gonna end funny and lighthearted, but know that some of these are really deep and emotional stories, so thank you for being vulnerable with me and sharing your truth. All right, y'all, let's do this. My first story is coming to you from Janelle. I instruct at a boutique cycling studio. Like you, I'm often trying to find the most unhinged themes because it's very on brand for me. Relatable. They don't always work out. However, I wanted to do a ride featuring all Canadian artists. Picture Avril Lavigne, Nelly Furtado, Michael Bublé, and of course our girl Celine. Side note, I live in Florida off of the West Coast. Needless to say, it is never not raining. When these big storms hit, we often lose power. But I will say, I have never lost power during class. I have had my mic go out, and I've taught with visual cues and projection, and I have had lights malfunction. Welp. In the middle of a wild club techno remix of My Heart Will Go On, Celine is belting the best parts. I'm gonna spare you my singing, but it is near or far, wherever you are, you know the vibe. Immediately power cuts out, lights out, mic off, music off, everything. All you hear is the squeaking of shoes on the bikes, heavy breathing, and then the responses of all the clients. You had to think fast, right? I literally continued singing and riding, and immediately the emergency light kicks on. Then, like Celine herself, all of my riders join in and sing with me. The front desk had to walk in and check on us. They started cracking up and then they left. I told the riders to just act like that emergency light was the moon in the nighttime sky when Jack and Rose were on that damn headboard. Says it's too soon. It is too soon. Soon enough, everything came back on and the music powered up, and I'll be damned if we weren't right on it when that music came up. Literally still one of the best classes ever. XOXO Janelle. That's pretty good. That's how you know you've trained your writers to be exactly on the beat. So hats off to you. My second story is from my friend Lo. She had to share this story in hopes that instructors would see what's possible outside of the studio. She did give me permission to share the name of her writer and these two photos. So here's what Lo has to say. Jess was one of my 24/7 woo girls. She even showed up to my very first friends and family ride when our studio opened and I started teaching. She was pumped for every theme and worked her way to the front row after a few short weeks. You know, that journey from the back to the front is really powerful. She was one of those writers that would smile all the way through class and give you hope even when it felt like it was your worst class ever. Fast forward a few years, and even after I hung up my mic belt, Jess stood by my side and became one of my very best friends. She even stood by my side on my wedding day when I got married. We've seen each other through some highs and lows, and I truly have no idea where I would be without her. You really don't know how you are impacting someone's life when you clip in and show up authentically. XOXO Lo. So here's the two pictures Lo sent in. I think this is from one of her community rides, and this is from her actual wedding, but we love to see it when writers become family. Okay, this story had me giggling, so I'm really excited to share number 3 with you. This is sent in from Michaela. Hi Jordan, my best cycling story happened a couple of months ago. I work at a small local gym that offers a variety of group fitness classes, cycling being one of them. The bikes that we use have pedals with clips on one side and a shoe cage on the other, so that anyone without cycling shoes can slip their normal sneakers in, which is what the majority of people do. One day, I was teaching an evening cycling class and I saw that I had a new rider on the schedule who had never cycled before. She ended up being late and walking into class just after the warm-up had already started. Having already started teaching the class, I couldn't give her a proper welcome speech and explanation of the bike and class like I normally would have. But I said hi and I encouraged her to just jump on in on a bike and shout if she had questions, and she did just that. Throughout class, she started to look really uncomfortable. Every speed push, she's barely moving her legs. Every jog or climb, she keeps hunching over or sitting back down. And I chalk it up to having never cycled before and maybe finding the workout difficult. So I just encourage her with a few general reminders to the class about modifications and knowing your body. T, we love. Fast forward to the end of class and we're wiping down the bikes to clean up when I noticed that this poor girl was not wearing shoes. She did the whole class in socks only. I was honestly too stunned to speak, and she left class pretty quickly before I had the chance to intercept and ask what was going on. And I guess the takeaway here is that as an instructor, you can try your best to prepare for anything, but you can never prepare for everything. True. And our weirdest classes often end up being the ones that make the best story. Best wishes, Michaela. Story number 4 is from Christina from Canada. So we got international stories. I think one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had as an instructor is when you set someone up for their very first class and then see their journey as a writer start to evolve. They always start in the back row, slowly moving their way up to the front, and soon you're looking at them to make sure that you're on beat. Relatable. I have had hundreds of first-time writers, but recently 3 of them have become instructors at our studio. It is the coolest feeling to know that you set them up for their first write ever, and now they're the ones leading others in doing the same thing. It's an amazing feeling. I really do believe that writers make the best instructors. Not only do they have all of the experience, but they have the built-in community, and you know that they care so much about the studio and the workout they're doing. The way the scheduling worked out, I was the one that passed the mic to them as they set up for their first class after mine had finished. I guess the full circle impact and seeing that growth is what keeps me going. Yeah, absolutely. Even if someone doesn't go all the way, just hearing how you've impacted their lives is a feeling that cannot be duplicated. And I agree. I love hiring my writers. I love when writers complete that journey and they want to teach. It's always a great feeling. Story number 5 comes from Sam. Like most first-generation college students, I was a rampant overachiever. I knew I was capable of big things and wanted to obtain the security my parents never had. So I threw myself into my studies, got into a good school, and declared myself a future doctor. I can tell by the way you write this email. You are an overachiever, and this is gorgeous. In the meantime, I taught spin classes at my campus recreation center. It was one of many side hustles I took on to pay my tuition, but little did I know it would come to mean so much more. It always does. Spin was the first time outside of playing sports that I moved my body not to look a certain way or resolve guilt, but for the pure joy of it. Spin did more than heal my relationship with my body. It gave me the confidence to restart my life. It was on the bike that I didn't feel tormented by my past or blinded by my future. I wasn't just in the moment, I was the moment. That made me tear up a little bit, okay. If I could drop out of school and do this full time, I would. I joked to my friends, but why couldn't I? Eventually, I was accepted to my dream med school and I told them no. Instead, I choose to live my life like I rode the bike, with purpose and presence. Not always clear where I was heading, but in motion nonetheless. But that didn't mean it was easy. I lived at home post-grad, which was extremely hard. I watched my peers thrive in nearby cities, and I watched the future I dreamt for myself waste away. I lost my physical strength, which became very apparent at a Drake the Halls themed cycle bar class on Christmas Eve of 2022. That's a great theme. I don't know what instructor thought of that. Kudos to you. We were barely 10 minutes in and I couldn't keep up. I couldn't believe I used to be the girl on the saddle. If I have ever experienced defeat, this was it. Keep your chin up. But I had a choice to muster the courage and believe that this wasn't the end, but just a redirection, a detour. And if I wanted to blaze an unprecedented path, I couldn't rely on pre-existing formulas for success. I had to figure it out on my own. So the next day I ordered a Peloton and I made a commitment to take one pedal stroke every single day towards who I was meant to be. I moved away from my hometown and I started a life of my own on my own. I got a job that I didn't love, but it afforded me the ability to pay rent and pursue my dream on the side. I found my way back into the saddle, ironically, at a cycle bar, and I helped carve a vibrant community around movement. I found friends and lost friends. I cried tears of sorrow and joy in my shoebox of an apartment. I still doubt what I'm doing, the validity of my story, and whether it's worth sharing. It absolutely is. But if I learned anything over the past 2 years, it's that sometimes you have to jump and trust that the net will appear. And although I still don't know exactly where I'm going, at least I know I'm on my way. That was a gorgeous story. And I think it is so just reassuring and affirming to people who do feel lost to know that they're not alone. And to know that just because you're in between a period of time in your life doesn't mean you're lost. You're just exploring. I don't know why we have to categorize things as being lost or without purpose, because you have such a beautiful purpose and you're finding it. So that was like art. That was like poetry. So thank you, Sam. Okay, this next one's a tearjerker. So, you know, just get ready. It's from my friend Courtney in Fairbanks, Alaska. A thriving fitness community in Alaska. Amazing. In 2017, my sister-in-law's niece was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy, which is the #1 genetic killer of infants. The hardest part about SMA is that most insurances won't cover treatment, as they were still in drug trials at the time. Insurance is a monster. Along with her, a local business, and my best friend, we set up the first ever Spin for Quinn in our hometown. 30 plus writers and businesses got together and raised $60,000 towards Quinn's first treatment. Unfortunately, Quinn did pass away, but we continue her legacy each third Saturday in July. We have since continued to put on this event in our small town, where our gym and another small business in town created a nonprofit. The event is now called Salty's Gives Back. A team of 3 writers gets together and raises funds for the charity of their choice, and we take it back to the streets and have a 4-hour cycleathon where all of our coaches get to teach. I would ride bikes for 4 hours. Let's go. The teams can choose anything that's special to them. We have raised funds for animal rescues, for search and rescue teams, for suicide prevention, and more. However, this year hit home when a regular client of ours was diagnosed with a rare form of breast cancer, and she did not have health insurance. Okay, again, insurance. Meet me outside. As a gym, we were able to raise thousands of dollars for her, in addition to the teams raising funds for the charities that meant the most to them. Since inception as a nonprofit in 2019, we have raised over $200,000. It is heartfelt and an amazing event every year, and I have been a part of every single one as a writer raising funds, and now for the last 3 years as a coach and writer. Love the journey. As a coach and someone who loves her small town, this event is something so special to me. But it also shows how special our jobs are as coaches and how we can use our platform for something so special outside of studio walls. Love, Courtney. That's an incredible story. It really is. I know for so many people that teaching fitness is a part-time job, but I think anyone outside of group fitness doesn't know how special and life-changing a part-time job can be, and this is such a beautiful example of someone literally changing lives and creating magnificent impact that giant industries leave behind individuals, and we as fitness instructors and fitness communities come together and resolve these problems. That's amazing. My next story comes from my friend Ashley, who I've never got to meet in person, but one day I will. She's a fellow Swiftie, a sweet soul with a beautiful story to share. There's something special when you can share your heart in a dark room on bikes that go nowhere. Yes. I taught a Tuesday evening connect that went on a journey with me last year. I underwent IVF treatments to become a mama to the most beautiful little girl. She is gorgeous. But I would routinely get news on Tuesdays that would affect my whole world and then have to get on a bike. I decided to be transparent with my riders through joy and tears. Before beginning my IVF treatments, I shared that I would be taking some time away from the podium. I was filled with fear, anxiety, and hope for the way that my world was changing. Following my announcement, I had a number of clients feel safe with me to share their journeys as well. Infertility is something that people don't talk about for a number of reasons. It meant the world to me when a client told me that they had gone through many rounds of IVF because she felt seen. My riders became a part of my journey through each and every ride. It also made that room feel so much more than just a workout. Never underestimate how sharing your life experiences may resonate with your riders. And that's a true story. Again, I feel like I've touched on it a number of times in this video, but not only as a fitness instructor, but as a human, you can feel so alone in these things that we go through that are hard. I'm just so thankful that communities like this that Ashley's talking about in her story and the communities that I've experienced in real life, I'm so glad that they exist. It really is so much more than a workout, and it's because of what everyone in the room puts into it. The love, the support, the care. I'm overjoyed to have watched Ashley become a mother. That's awesome. My next story is for all you Seattle girlies. This is from Hannah. Hi, Jordan. I hope you have had a fabulous summer. I have, but in Missouri, it's still summertime. It is 90 degrees today at the end of September. My name's Hannah, and I've been a fitness professional for the past 8 years. Hi. I started teaching indoor cycling my senior year of high school, and I've gone on to continue my education in fitness, becoming an ACE group fitness instructor, a NASM certified personal trainer, a 200-hour registered yoga teacher with an additional 20-hour mindfulness certification. Snaps for Hannah, girl. That's a lot of education. Also, the emotional maturity that you have to teach spin while you're still in high school. Snaps again, because my 18-year-old self could never. I couldn't even pick up the phone to make a doctor's appointment, so. Fitness, mindfulness, affirmations, and yoga have all transformed my life. I would not be who I am today had I not been introduced to group fitness in high school. At first, it was an outlet for me, and then it became a lifeline for me as I struggled with health issues. I'm now the founder of Grateful to Move, a Seattle-based fitness and yoga community built on self-love, affirmations, and mindful movement. At Grateful to Move, our mission is to foster a vibrant community where movement serves as a pathway to self-love, mindfulness, and joy. We believe in the power of affirmations and the importance of approachable, fun experiences for all levels. Love. By nurturing both body and mind through movement, meditation, and collective support, that's the part right there, we aim to create a space where everyone can celebrate their journey and embrace their potential. If you are in Seattle, you should check them out. What a beautiful way to take your education and experience and create something that changes lives for people. So we snap one more time for Hannah. That's amazing. I got 2 more stories left, so come with me. This is a story to remind you that your career in group fitness is a journey, and it's so valid, and it is a great move to believe in yourself and pursue something that makes you happy. So McKenna wrote in and said, "Hi, I'm McKenna, or as my friends call me, Mac. I'm 24 and living my best full-time fitness coach life in downtown Phoenix." Hell yes, girl. Although some days that still seems wild to say. Well, congratulations, you are doing it. I grew up being pretty active and playing sports in school, but towards the end of high school and through a majority of college, living a healthy lifestyle was pretty much completely thrown out the window. I dabbled in the occasional working out, and healthy habits were here and there, but it wasn't until I joined Orange Theory Fitness in the beginning of 2022 that I really started to get into fitness. Get it, girl. While finishing up school online, I didn't have a desire to use my degree and just couldn't picture myself working a normal 9 to 5. And you don't have to. That's a beautiful thing about life. I suppose it just seemed right to start to get my foot in the door with fitness by pursuing that passion and also changing my own life physically and mentally at the same time. Since 2022, I've worked my way up from being just a member at OTF to front desk girl to now being the head coach of OTF in downtown Phoenix. We got snaps for McKenna too. Over the past almost 3 years, I have not only found my passion for fitness and coaching, but a love for moving my body and specifically running. I went from barely being able to run a full mile, me, to having 3 full marathons under my belt. That's insane. You're amazing. I also work for an online coaching company, which has been so amazing to work with clients and be their biggest cheerleaders. I'm always learning and growing constantly while living a very busy whirlwind of a life. Sounds like it, girl. Finding my passion by helping others believe in themselves and all the potential they are made of has been nothing short of rewarding. I believe that movement is medicine and that we are capable of more than we could ever even imagine. I love what I do, and I do what I love, and I can't imagine it any other way. So that makes the second story in this episode that follows someone who is pursuing a more traditional path or a traditional 9 to 5 and then realized that that maybe wasn't the best choice for them to live their best life and transition into this career of fitness. So if you resonate with that story, this is a good reminder that you're not alone, and it's a very valid career choice to work full-time in fitness. I know it's like the path less traveled, and it's maybe not as financially rewarding or stable as some other career paths, which make it that more of a risk, but you are out here changing lives, working with people, and making an impact. So keep doing what you're doing. That's amazing. I'm gonna end with one that just made me giggle. This is a great note to end on. And number 10, the last story of this first episode, is from Cameron. I'm a spin instructor in Athens, Georgia, and I have been teaching for about 2.5 years. At my studio, we have 2 Roombas that run at the end of the day. Oh, so you're bougie. Okay. We have one in the ride room and one in the lobby area. In February, I was teaching a private sorority ride. We live in a college town. And this ride was after the last normally scheduled class of the day. We get about 10 minutes into a 45-minute class when I notice movement out of the corner of my eye. The Roomba. We didn't change her schedule. She started to do her job mid-class. She's a working girl. Now in this class we have 37 bikes, and probably 25 of those bikes are filled with first-time riders. I've got to do my job and demonstrate the drills I'm asking them to perform, but also I've got to catch the Roomba because she is a distraction. So I call out to the girls in the lobby, and about the time I'm calling out, they're realizing, holy shit, the Roomba. because the lobby Roomba had also started performing her job. They didn't hear me, but it was no problem. I was able to hop off the bike and catch the menace of the Roomba. I had never laughed harder at something going wrong in my class. As fitness instructors, I think we can all agree that if anything goes wrong in a class, that's still gotta be something we would choose every day. To this day, I still tell this story as one of the funniest things to ever happen to me while I was teaching. LOL, my job rocks. So there you have it. 10 inspiring, entertaining, educational, and just really heartwarming stories of fitness professionals and lovers of fitness that are out here in this world doing what they love, making an impact with people on a daily basis, and really just blazing the trail for people who want to follow in their footsteps. This job is challenging, but it is so rewarding. And I hope that sharing these stories reminds you, you are not alone in your joy or your struggles or your hopes, fears, your empty classes, your full classes, your nightmare worst thing going wrong, or the best full class you've ever taught in your life. We are all here together and I'm so glad you're a part of it. Thank you for everyone who wrote in and shared their stories. I didn't get to read everything in this episode, but I would love to receive more stories. And I think for episode 2, the stories I'd like to hear are stories from your first year of teaching fitness, maybe even more specifically towards the beginning of your fitness career. Funny things that happened, your inspiring story of how you overcame obstacles to become a fitness instructor, great things that happened that educated you and made you smarter, wiser, stronger, better in all your next classes. Write them in. I'll put all the information in the description down below, and I can't wait to hear your stories. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want to so I can afford to buy more Alani's. Bye.